Welcome to the podcast, Wake Up Humans with Steve Judson.
Hey gang, Dr. Steve Judson here. And one of the many things I do just to kind of keep myself in state and trying to just function as best I can is I'll go through some old books I've read. And this week I pulled off the shelf this book by Pat Riley, The Winner Within, A Life Plan for Team Players. And one thing I always do when I read my books is I always sign them in the front and I date the year I'm reading them. So this book I read back in 1993. I was still, it's like 92, 93. I was still in college, had no money, was working a couple jobs. This time I was waiting tables, bartending in the Bronx. And it's just fun to kind of go back to where you came from and then to see where you are today. So one of the many things I do is, if you would open this book here, is I have stars and arrows and notes in the columns. And it's kind of really cool to see where your mindset was at a certain place in time and where are you now. But one of the many things I've learned is if you pick up any book, you want to call it a motivational book, inspiration book, is, you have to have a strategy of where you want to go in life, where you want to be. Okay. And one of the things I've learned and found is to surround yourself with people that are doing amazing things and living a lifestyle that you want to create. And listen, I'll never get around Pat Riley for the most part. Maybe someday I'll meet him, but I could certainly read his book, and so can you. So what I'm doing is getting the best of him in this book. What it took for him to sit down and write a book, his thoughts of excellence. If you don't know who he was, he's one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. Absolutely amazing man, a stud, just vibrant energy, motivated, amazing human being. So when I read his book, I'm learning his thought process. I'm learning what helped make him as a man. And, now raising 5 kids, I actually pulled this book off the shelf because I want my son to read it. He loves basketball. He loves sports. And I want him to love reading, which he doesn't. So I'm, just putting things in front of him that will grab his interest. But, I know this will make him grow. But as I went through it and I'm going through all my old notes, it's amazing the things, how they come into fruition. And you can see in life how things are going to be repetitive. We're not reinventing the wheel. Things are always going to be pretty much the same. It's just people's perception and how they're going to handle things. And one of the quotes that I had circled and highlighted was jealousy, the jaundice of the soul. Jealousy, the jaundice of the soul. And that was quoted from John Dryden. And that's on, I need these glasses to read, brother. Page 59 of his book. Again, Pat Riley, if you're just joining us, The Winner Within. Amazing book. And he's talking about jealousy. And if you look around you and you see people succeeding around you, are you happy for them or are you jealous? Are you proud of someone's success, especially if it's a family member or a close friend? Behind closed doors, are you happy for those people? Because if you're not, if you're jealous, it's burning your soul, man. It's burning your life. We got to learn to embrace other people's success. Here's the issue. Whatever you define as your success today, and I urge you to get a yellow legal pad. If you look at my desk, I've got these yellow legal pads all over the place. Okay, I've got stacks of them that I'm always writing out thoughts and goals and things and where I want to go. And then I take from those pads and put it onto my master yellow pad what I'm looking to achieve out of my life, whether it's with my spouse, my wife Tammy, my kids, my physical self, my office, writing books, whatever it is, it's all in writing. I don't make it up as I go, but I learned this by reading about other people and how they did things. I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm not like this master guy that gets this idea. I do get creative stuff, man. You'll see when you start opening yourself up to the universe, great ideas come in. But no matter how successful you think you get or you start achieving your goals, I'll tell you what, there's always people out there doing a heck of a lot more than we ever do. And how do we judge that? A lot of times people judge by people's lifestyles. If you go on YouTube and you watch these guys and they're getting on private jets and they're wearing $4,000 suits, blah, blah, blah. If you want that, go for it. But don't judge yourself by them. Be happy where you're at. Get content where you're at, but also don't get content to the point where you stop growing, where you just sit back and just get comfortable. In life, you have to get yourself uncomfortable now and then so your body will adapt at a higher level. The same thing goes with your health. If your body's not adapting anymore, you're dying. I always talk about an atlas subluxation. If that brain stem cannot help your body perceive your internal environment from external influences, you're slowly shutting down and dying. So we have to constantly challenge our body to a higher level. And when I read this about the jealousy thing, it was kind of intriguing because you see that a lot in society. You see it in with the kids' sports, et cetera, and all these things going on. Are we truly happy for these people where the kids are succeeding? And if your kids playing kids at a young age and now they grow up, and listen, not every kid's going to grow up to be a stud athlete. People are going to pass them. They physically change. You look at your friends, you may pull up to someone's house and they just have a different style house. Are we judging them? Or are we grateful and realize that there was a lot of work that went into that? And when I look at professional athletes and some of my mentors, and I try to make sure my mentors are at a place that I would love to be someday. And the reality is, with many of them, I'm not going to be. I just don't have that time and energy to do what they had to do. But if I take bits and pieces to help me get where I'm going, and I look at their physical life, their spiritual life, their emotional life, how they handle themselves internally, then it helps me make better choices. Now, listen, you don't have to travel around the world going to seminars. You just got to read books. I've got volumes of books here in my office, stacks of books at home, stacks of books in my basement. I got lost in books. I didn't watch TV for 6 or 7 years, believe it or not. And all I did was read. Back then, we didn't have YouTube and all those things. I bought CDs and discs and cassettes, and I listened to people. And when I look at the date on this book, when I read it back in 1993, guys, I was happy as heck, man. I had a great, great life, 92, 93. And I had negative money in the bank. I was living on cash that I got from bartending, waiting tables. I was doing some construction, doing some roofing. I worked. I didn't sleep much. I averaged about 4 hours of sleep a night. But then I fast forward and I look at the goals that I wrote down on these yellow legal pads, and they come true. So the art is to be able to teach our children this stuff, right? Because they're going to create the mindset that they want in life, and they're going to create their life. It's going to be 10, 15, 20 years. 1993, we're in 2019. Do the math. How long ago is that? 26 years? So what does that mean? Did I know where I was going to be over 20 years later from when I read this book? And I'm here to tell you, yes, 100%. The dream, the goals, the vision was created back then, and it came true. There was a time my wife and I, we were moving, I believe, and we were cleaning out our basement, and we found one of the old legal pads, and her and I had written goals together. Several pages of goals, and we sat on the floor, and we crushed every single one of them. Every single goal. I actually hit a point in my life where I didn't have goals anymore. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what was possible. What can I do? And I got content. I got comfortable. But I was very happy. But then I started getting a little agitated. What else is there? Because, the old adage of a lot of times people, they gain a lot of these things and they're just not happy. It's true. Because if you're not spiritually connected and you're connected from within and you're hanging out with the right people and you start getting lost in other things like alcohol and hanging out with the wrong people, you're going to lose it all. And you're going to lose that inner joy. The inner joy I had when I had nothing, quote unquote, was just my spiritual connection to the universe and the goals and the vision that I was creating. It was exciting. But the new excitement is always keeping it fresh. And what do you know unless you don't search out others that are going to help you get to another level? Read books to help you get to where you want to go. There was another part of this that hit me as I thumbed through it, because if you're just joining me, what I did was I pulled out an old book that I want my son to read. And I read this back in 1992, 93. I always date and sign the books when I read them because I'll highlight them and make stars and notes in the columns. And I like to go back and see where I was at. And I don't have to read the book again. I could just jump through it. Things that jumped out at me at that time. So the first thing, if you're just joining us, that jumped out was this Jealousy, The Jaundice of the Soul by John Dryden. He wrote that. And it's insane, the amount of jealousy in our society. The other one that really, couple things here on page 253, is victory is made up of smaller victories. Victory is made up of smaller victories. So you got to have the great vision of where you want to go. We talk to our patients about, we're taking you to the castle. We're putting you on the yellow brick road. We're pulling you out of the woods out of the darkness of life where you've been, all the drugs, medications, pills, potions, lotions, and we're pulling you out onto the yellow brick road and teaching you a way that's going to make your life better, help you adapt at a higher level, help you live clear, keep that atlas clear. But along the way, along the journey, old habits going to kick in and you're going to start getting dragged back into that woods. And that's when people get down on themselves and they get hard on themselves. But you need a team around you to help pull you back out and give you confidence and keep hope alive. Death is afraid of him because he has the heart of a lion. Screw death, man. Listen, when you come from a place of faith and you realize when your day comes, you're going home. I'm going to meet the Lord, man. I got no fear of death. I just don't want to do it early. I want to see my kids get married. I want to meet my grandchildren. I want to go have fun and throw a ball with these young little punks. But I'm not going to walk around in fear of death because that takes away from your happiness and joy. To reach one's ultimate goals, each plateau must be overcome a day at a time. I actually wrote that. That's a Steve Judson quote. Let's read it again. To reach one's ultimate goal, S in an apostrophe, each plateau must be overcome a day at a time. I wrote that on October 6, 1993. And I realized back then some of the plateaus and some things I was going through. And I realized that it was taking baby steps and I had to keep the faith. And my goal in life now is to help other people find their purpose and passion in life, but also give them action steps to realize that they could do it. If I could do it, my wife could do it, my kids are doing it, your kids could do it, your wife could do it, your husband could do it. You just got to take massive action. And the massive action is learning what other people are doing that are actually quote unquote succeeding in your eyes, in your heart, and have outcomes that you want to achieve, and then just take massive action and do it. Don't be distracted. Don't sit there watching the news and TV and all that kind of garbage that's going to distract you and make you part of the herd, right? The herd is big. It's just the average going in one direction, being told what to think, say, do, and the people don't lose and they don't think to themselves. They lose their consciousness and they start living unconsciously and they're not thinking, and then they end up one day and their life's falling apart. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be your family. Learn the principles of living clear and setting vision for yourself and your family and teaching your kids that. When that happens, you become happy for other people's success. Jealousy doesn't have a place to live in your soul. I love to see other people succeed. I love to help people, give them a vision where they can succeed more than I ever have in life. To me, that's just absolutely amazing. So let's be grateful. Another thing you could do is just write 5 to 10 things you're grateful for every single day, or just say them out loud. What are you grateful for? And you create that energy of abundance and peace in your life. So take these action steps. If you want to read this book, it's amazing. Pat Riley, one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. The Winner Within, a plan for team players. And all it is it takes a team. Who's your team? Who's on your team? Who's helping raise you up and get you to the next level? God bless you. Don't forget, we got our Wake Up Humans event at the office here Monday coming up, the 21st. Let's get your family there. God bless you. We love you.
You've been listening to Wake Up Humans with Steve Judson. To get Steve's books, Wake Up Humans and Atlas Adjusted, just visit Amazon. The Wake Up Humans podcast is a copyright of Steve Judson. Be sure to look up other episodes. Wake Up Humans will educate, inspire, and bring you clarity. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Humans with Steve Judson. Visit JudsonChiropractic.com.